Hey guys, this is Christian and Corey, and we are SuperKamiGuru9000, and today we are bringing you Naruto Chapter 539. So, let's begin with the review.
Alright guys, the chapter opens with a bold declaration from Naruto telling the Kyuubi, I will erase all of that hate, and then I'm going to become Hokage, and then I'm going to search and find One Piece, and then I'm going to be the greatest Pokemon master in the world, and then I'm going to rule the Shinigami universe and find all 7 Dragon Balls, so that I can make my grand wish, to wish for Sasuke to not be an asshole anymore.
Okay, but in all seriousness, Naruto just has a conversation with the Kyuubi, and just his confidence level is boom, and he is dominating, and he just leaves the Kyuubi off with some enduring words.
So we cut back to the battlefield, where the big moon is glaring over the battlefield, and we get to see Neji. Obviously, he's having some struggles right here, which for Neji I think is kind of weird because he's usually one of the more competent fighters we've seen amongst the original rookies. But it's pretty obvious he's not doing too good, and Kiba decides to get in there and help him out a little bit. He basically lets him know, you got to go to these medical tents. You got to get looked at, man. You know, your Byakugan's good, but I have, great, smelling and sniffing abilities. That sounds messed up. And, that'll help him just as good on the battlefield. The middle part of the chapter, for me, was probably the most interesting part, and it was also one of the shortest, oddly. We actually get to see 2 of the Edo Tensei zombies that I've been wanting to see for a long time, Nagato Pain and Itachi. And they're just walking together, and obviously, they're pretty buddy-buddy, you can see. They got their arms around each other, but probably because Nagato can't walk on his own will. But otherwise, this is just really interesting, because these are 2 of the most just ridiculously strongest characters in the series. And they're both together, and they have this interesting conversation where Itachi's basically saying, with your power of the Rinnegan, and with my power of my Sharingan, we can almost do anything. And it makes me think, like, maybe they can actually get, away from the bounds of Edo Tensei and actually join the Alliance and help them in the battle.
Yeah, so Neji comes up on the medical camp, and he walks in, and guess what? The first thing he sees is Sakura, and she gets to healing him. Yeah.
I'd like her to heal me.
So Sakura's finishing up healing Neji, and that weird, pretty much red herring dude shows up, and he just has that weird-ass panel.
And sorry if we gave that away, but this is a review, the red herring guy. That's what he is. He's a red herring, and he's a total pedo bear. And it's funny because every single time you see him, they always show him like hiding behind a tent or something, and he's drawn in that style where they kind of put him in shadows, and they make him look really ominous and really creepy. And, of course, he ends up not really being much of a threat at all. And while all of this is going on, we get to see that outside of the camp, another ninja has actually made its way in, and we don't really get to see who this is. And
we do see their feet, though.
Yeah. And that brings us to the end of the chapter, which has some interesting developments.
Okay, so the pedo bear dude, he just ends up being just a normal guy that just likes and has the crush on Sakura. Goes up and it's like, hey, I wrote you a love letter. And she's like, oh, sweet. But then she interrupts him and it's like, hey, but I'm already waiting for someone. And he's like, oh, that's cool. Now, I know all you fanboys and girls out there want to contribute her either way you like her. So, but the thing is, she probably just wanted that creeper to go away. She's like, oh, no, I know someone. Go, get out of here.
After all that little Sakura business, we get down to probably the best part of the chapter, and the thing that's really the most surprising. We get to see that Neji all of a sudden just appears out of nowhere in this tent and kills 2 of the medical ninja. Or at least we assume he kills them. And he's got this shit-eating grin on his face, and he actually looks a lot like Orochimaru.
Yeah.
But it ends with him actually walking towards Sakura's camp, and she starts to notice. And a murderous figure approaches! Why, Neji? Why? Will Neji defeat Sakura? Will Sakura...
Okay, so, I don't know. Was I supposed to talk during this? So this was a solid chapter, I think, with everything you got. If you look at it like a total package, the only part that really sucked was the beginning, because we just got kind of finishing up with Naruto and the Fox, which was cool, but
it was just reinforcement.
Reinforcement, blah, get out of there. But the other cool things we saw, like the awesome Itachi and fucking Pain working together, that's insane. If you really think about it, because both of them have insane eye powers, and they could just erase anyone they run into. And
and they're not limited by those powers. It's like we were saying earlier, they could possibly have their own alliance somehow and get away from the Edo Tensei thing. Also, just a little bit at the end with Neji. That was just really unexpected. And, after reading it a few times and looking back at all the panels, because that last bit of the chapter did go on for a while, and you had to read it a few times, or at least I did, I'm pretty sure that this Neji is actually Zetsu. And the only reason I think that is basically, one, you know, a ninja can't get in through the barrier. They're going to be able to tell if it's like a clone or something, or if it's someone who's just in a transformed state. We do know that Zetsu has the ability to not only copy their physical appearance, but their chakra and their abilities as well. So it makes sense how we could go in there. Plus, if you'll notice, when Neji's attacking people and everything, his Byakugan is not activated.
Yeah, he doesn't have the like veins or the impression.
I'm not sure if that's like a hint or something, but also this just seems really out of character for Neji. And the fact that he's just smiling on the last page. How many times do you see Neji smile?
So you guys, for Naruto chapter 539, we're going with 7.5. I wanted 8, Corey wanted 7, and here we are. So I really do like this chapter. If the Itachi Pain combo isn't enough for you, I mean, the killer Neji should be. I mean, it's an awesome chapter. So, 7.5, you guys.
I'm still recovering from the last fuck up. A murderous figure approaches. Why, Neji? Why? Tune in next week for a new episode of Naruto Shippuden Z.
Till next time, you guys. SuperKamiGuru9000 out.